Thank you. Our next talk is going to be by Arun Cherkkil, and the title of his talk is, I've got two different titles. Okay. A miniscope to map the brain? Is that the right one, or the one up there?
This one.
Neurotechnologies for mapping the brain.
Sorry about that. Each of us perceives space around us slightly differently. How does our brain represent the space? Is a question that neuroscientists have been asking for a very long time. Well, space is represented in the brain in form of billions of connections made between neurons that transfer this information in tiny electrical spikes called action potentials. Well, in order to measure this large-scale activity in the brain of a mouse, which has similar brain structure as us humans, we use techniques that are based on photoluminescence. In this technique, we shine a light on a specific part of an active brain, and the cells in the brain would fluoresce like stars in the clear night sky. We can then use a microscope and a camera to measure this activity. In our lab, we have recently developed large transparent windows that can safely replace parts of the skull in mouse and give us an optical access to the entire cortex. But to develop a large microscope that can image from such large fields of view would be really big and could weigh over 20 pounds and be really clunky. This would want us to restrict the animal's movement onto something like a treadmill. Well, if we need to study spatial awareness, how do we study this in an animal that is restricted by its motion? Well, my solution is to miniaturize these microscopes so that it can fit the geometry of a mouse brain and still image from different parts of the brain. This device, called a miniscope, could weigh less than a tennis ball, and the animal can easily lug it around as it freely moves in space. This device, consisting of multiple camera arrays, can image from different parts of the brain simultaneously to stitch an entire image of the cortex. Well, now we can do experiments where the animal is freely navigating a maze in pursuit of a tiny reward. Well, these experiments can translate to human studies where we can understand how space is represented in human brains. Well, this is my scientific pursuit, and I hope to contribute to this cause a miniscope bit at a time.